The video that we posted yesterday regarding Jason Aldean and his new song, Try That in a Small Town, set off a bit of a firestorm down in the comments section of that video. One person even having the audacity to ask me if, quote unquote, I hated America. Well, in this video, I would like to answer that question very clearly. To some of us, what you see on your screen is all that's left of America, and for me personally, it's mostly down in the lower right. The song might have been more accurately titled, Try That Down in Florida, instead of In a Small Town. Because who remembers truly 2020, 2021? You see, there were no statues getting pulled down in Florida. There were no BLM protests in Florida. And as of very recently, all references to George Floyd and BLM have been removed from Florida textbooks in school. So for me, this is all that's left of America. Some might say, Hillary Clinton was born in America, but Nicole Arbour and Jordan Peterson, they were born in Canada. Do you hate America if you prefer their opinions over Hillary Clinton's? I don't think so. You see, if you ask me about Floridian values versus, say, the values of Minnesota, Minneapolis, Detroit, Michigan, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. See, all those states are American, but there are some countries just south of Florida that have a lot more conservative values. Does that make me anti-American? Well, personally, I'll buy something made in Mexico before I'll buy something made in Michigan, or made in Pennsylvania, or made in Minnesota, or other places that during 2020 decided to take a little bit of liberty with the truth about who the leader of this country should be, and that's all I can really say. Now, one thing that I would like to ask my audience is this. Who remembers also when the story came out about the millions of people flocking to Florida? And all the folks who were saying, just you wait, Florida Maquis, they're going to come down there and they're going to bring their blue voting ways with them and they're going to flip your state. Well, what actually happened? I had a little fun with my audience for a while showing a skeleton by a beach waiting for the La Palma tsunami. Well, you see, we're still waiting for that tsunami of blue voters to come flip our politics. In fact, what really happened? You see, here was 2016 Florida. See, Mr. Trump had lived down here for decades. Decades and decades. I mean, he lived here, and he lived in New Jersey, and he lived everywhere else, but he had a house down here, and look where he lived. See down here, way down here, lower right? This was 2016. Now, what changed between 2016 and now? That's right. New governor. A new governor. And now, even ask a Democrat. Ask a Democrat. They have declared Florida hostile to homosexuals, hostile to trans, that everybody who should just get out. They're not even saying come here and try to change things. They're saying get out. It's lost for a generation. And we're proud of that. We're very, very proud of that. Real quick, I'm also very proud of everyone who has showed up at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. There's an Antarctica channel out there now that's got 1 million and something subscribers talking about everything we've talked about for the last 5 years. And they're asking $5 for Antarctica videos. I've never put a single Antarctica video over at the Patreon channel. That's always been free. I'm not going to mention that channel name to give them any more traffic because it's a CIA agent that's running the channel. But it's out there, and I'm sure a lot of you can find it because it's ended up in my comment section. Florida Maquis, did you see this video? They're confirming everything you're saying. It's like, yeah, it's a CIA agent who conducts interviews, and in the background of his interviews is a picture of him about 4 feet across on the wall with a beautiful gold frame and accent lighting. You'd have to ask yourself a question. What type of individual would have a picture of themselves put in their home or in their office that was 4 feet across with accent lighting? Everybody misses it because they're trying to focus on what he's trying to say about Antarctica, which is patently false, but an entirely different subject for another day. $1 per month. That's it over there. Even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable first 90 days. Thank you, everyone, for the support. I very, very much appreciate it. Also, we are doing a drawing at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's only $1 to enter. And we're going to give away, and there's going to be 2 winners, the last 2 in existence, Florida Maquis coffee mugs. These were down beneath the videos for years until the powers that be decided that I wasn't allowed to sell merch anymore because I sold merch that had a certain flag on it people didn't like. This also goes back to 2021, 2022. So if you'd like to have a chance to get these mugs, $1. That's it. Now, Florida removes Black Lives Matter, George Floyd content from textbook. State Department of Education releases examples of unsolicited topics and inaccuracies in textbooks. Now, as if this wasn't good enough, guess what else is going on in Florida? Guess what else is going on in Florida? There are 8 different Republican Party councils that are now joining forces to recommend to the governor that we declare COVID and the ensuing vaccine bioweapons made by China. Now, the governor hasn't declared this yet, and the Florida legislature has not declared this yet. But let's read what PolitiFact, even PolitiFact, has to say. Quote, Florida to ban mRNA vaccines as credible evidence of biological weapons. Now, they rate this as false because it's true. Florida government has not yet taken steps to ban COVID-19 vaccines and brand them as bioweapons. A July 17 Instagram post claimed Florida is poised to prohibit COVID-19 vaccines because they are bioweapons. Quote, Florida to ban mRNA vaccines as credible evidence of biological weapons, said the image of a tweet shared in the post. The Instagram post was flagged as part of Meta, formerly Facebook's, efforts to combat false news and misinformation on its newsfeed. The claim is based on the latest instance of county Republican Party leaders in Florida claiming that the vaccines are bioweapons and calling for them to be banned. Now, here's what is true. Florida state officials have not moved yet to enact such a ban. The television version of the report said Republican Party leaders in Brevard County, Florida, would vote to send a letter to GOP Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida legislature. The letter asked the officials to ban mRNA COVID-19 vaccines and claim the vaccines are a biological weapon. An updated version of the story on the station's website said the county party's executive committee approved sending the letter. Now, here's the part that you need to pay attention to. At least 8 local Republican parties in Florida have made the claim about the vaccines and called for them to be banned. Now, blah, 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 blah. They give their opinion on all this. So, while the Florida state government hasn't yet done anything, we are in the process of making that happen. Now, I don't think it's any kind of a coincidence that China is sending dozens of fighter jets and bombers towards Taiwan at the moment. You see, they see Taiwan like the U.S. sees Cuba. And also, oh, by the way, this guy Robert Kiyosaki, who has been right 99% of the time, is predicting this fall, probably in October, the collapse, epic collapse of U.S. Wall Street. Now, those of you who've been with the channel, who remembers when I said a long time ago that Florida is now acting as de facto, meaning in reality, on the ground, its own country, its own nation. You see, there's 2 terms. De facto, meaning in reality, what do you see in front of your face? And then there's in law, D-E space J-U-R-E. It's pronounced de jure. A lot of people confuse that with de jour, meaning of the day, like soup de jour. De jure in law means that technically we would have already on paper separated from blah, 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 blah. You see, de jure doesn't matter. What really matters is what's going on the ground in reality. What's happening day to day to you in front of your face. That's what matters. And what matters in Florida is this. Number 1, we aren't tearing down statues. Number 2, We have banned references to George Floyd, social justice, and all this BLM nonsense from all textbooks educating any kid anywhere in Florida. We have school choice in Florida, meaning you can take your tax money, you can take your own tax money, and you can use it to send your kid to whatever school you want to, including private ones. We have school choice in Florida. Number 3, we are now in the process of building support. 8 different Republican Party groups in Florida have now joined together to send letters to the state legislature declaring mRNA vaccines a bioweapon, a Chinese bioweapon. Now, you can agree with that, you can disagree with that, but that's even from PolitiFact, the facts they are reporting, and that's the case. Now, tell me again about this song about try that in a small town. It's really try that in Florida. Find me any other state. You find me evidence any other state has removed BLM from their curriculum. Any other Republican parties in any other state, anywhere that are trying to do what we're doing with mRNA, or have done what the governor's already done by banning the Chinese from buying land in Florida. Banning all sorts of things that Washington, D.C. has wanted to try to do here. And he has been wildly successful, and he is wildly popular. It wouldn't bother me one bit, honest to God, if Governor DeSantis just remained the governor of Florida. Wouldn't bother me a bit. I think the country could learn a lot from him if he was in D.C., but if he comes back here and you want the guy that pushed warp speed on you and told you how lucky you were to have warp speed and the results of warp speed, then by all means, line up right behind and bow down in abject worship like you have for the last 4 years. You see, here's the thing about Governor DeSantis, and I've said this before. He was the compromise. The left hates him because they think he's farther right than Trump is on a lot of things. He's nowhere near as far right as most of the people in Florida are. He's done some things that are incredibly, taken on Disney, took some guts. I still have yet to hear Mr. Trump say one negative thing about Disney and their trafficking agenda. Have you? I haven't heard a thing. Yeah, I mean, he showed up and he hosted the movie, but still, not a word about Disney, who is collapsed, by the way. They're collapsing financially, by the way. I hope we get rid of them. I truly do. So does most of the people who actually live here in Florida. So, like I said, this was the swing state version prior to DeSantis. This is after DeSantis. So, I will leave it there. But God bless all of you who are supporting us at the Patreon channel, $1 level, $5 level, wherever you're at. If you want a chance to get one of the last 2 coffee mugs in existence, Florida Maquis, there's no real way to make them anymore. We're going to do a drawing, and we're going to draw August 22nd is the 12-year anniversary of the Florida Maquis on Patreon, on YouTube. And it's been a long time. We've really only been going, full bore, I guess is the best way to talk about it, since about 2016. But I was putting music up long before then with, virtually no success, but that's another story for another day. So I will leave it there. But basically the point is this: we're once again the tip of the spear. Once again, Florida is the tip of the spear, removing all of this leftist nonsense from our curriculum and standing against, something that, might ruffle some feathers. For those of you that can't read down here, this quote from President 45. I hope everyone remembers when they're getting the bio weapon or COVID or whatever, the jab, that if I wasn't president, you wouldn't be getting that beautiful Chinese stick for 5 years at best, and probably wouldn't be getting it at all. So No, you make your decisions based on whatever you want to make them. I'm going to make them on, Floridian values. Do you share Floridian values? Just a question. Ask down in the comment section. God bless. Have a wonderful week. Be safe. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.